That's part of this week's Alternative Sounds of the 90s mixtape. So ask your smart speaker to open the BBC Sounds and then ask for demos Alternative Sounds of the 90s. Mr. Ambassador, welcome. How are you?
Thank you very much.
It's good to see you.
Nice to be here. Ambassadizing, that's the right word, right?
Dan Smith from Bastille. What a treat to see you. Firstly, I haven't seen you for ages. You look exactly the same as when I last saw you. Which was you were about to go in a wonderful field somewhere in the southwest England. You had to go on stage with, and you were quite nervous because you haven't been on stage for a while.
I'm always a nervous wreck. Yeah, yes, but I probably look as exhausted and shambolic as I did back then, and terrified. How are you?
Oh, really well, because it's like I love days like this, where everywhere you turn there's paper and vinyl, and it's an exciting day. I love Record Store Day.
It's really fun.
So what does I mean, you do a lot of, I've seen you online, you're doing a lot of like great work for Record Store Day, but what does it involve?
I guess, I mean, it's like the best job in the world, getting to just talk about records and be as excited as other people to queue up, go to record shops on this lovely Saturday morning and go and hopefully get some fun new limited editions.
Because Bastille always struck me as quite a tech savvy band, I think.
Yes.
But you still love the analog as well.
Yeah, massively. I think sort of coming through with the age of streaming, there's obviously something for younger people about the tangibleness of getting to hold a record and pour through it and own something and have some ownership over it. I mean, when I grew up, it was like my dad's old records, and then I guess CDs as well.
Mum and Dad's are records with in many ways the most exciting records to have, and I still have some of mine. Because unless your mum and dad are absolute record heads, they go the way of the CD, right? They sort of like they end up in like a dusty cupboard or something.
Yeah.
So then you end up, if you're into vinyl, you end up inheriting them. So what were your what are your random ones? Because there's always a couple. I've got the best of the Nolans, which I swear to God is one of the best vinyls I can ever inherit.
Like a weird. So from my grandma, there was like a weird cross slice of like Pavarotti, opera, and some audiobooks that were quite creepy.
Yes, Grandma.
Yes, Grandma. But then my dad, I've got they were really into sort of, I've got Simon & Garfunkel, The Graduate original here,
we're talking.
Which is very, very nice. And my dad...
Trying to seduce me, Dan?
My dad, who, Mum and Dad had nothing, they're sort of, they didn't work in music or anything like that. But my dad once on a business trip, on a plane, was sat next to the guy who's the radio promoter for Kate Bush.
Shut up.
They chatted and they became mates, like plain twin mates. And he ended up posting my dad loads of like promo factory runs of like old Kate Bush records. So I've got a bunch of those as well. And Dad wasn't even a Kate Bush fan at all. So I was very, very, very happy to inherit them of him. So yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's my lot. But yeah, there's a bunch of like old Elton and
I had like Nolan's was great, but then there was a lot of old Irish stuff, and then there's some really lovely Nat King Cole
amazing
albums. I've got a few really old Elvis albums and a lot of Rodgers and Hammerstein sort of musical stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Really
were you into it, or was it just what was there?
Yeah. No, hugely into it because the music was always played in the background.
Yeah,
so
it's weird, isn't it? And how like obviously pre online. All you had was this artwork, so that was the kind of visual representation of what the album was in your head.
You're very kind. You brought in one of your own.
Yes, I did.
And what a one of your own you've got. You've got Kate Bush, Hounds of Love, which you got for 50 kroner. So that would be, where were you, in Norway or Denmark?
I was in Norway.
Yeah,
in Tromsø.
Yeah,
this is, I think, the most northern. Potentially most northern town in the world, or in...
No, there'd be further. It's definitely a big city up there, though. Definitely.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, cool. That's a terrible bad fact.
No, don't worry. I'm just married to a Norwegian, so
you're like, I've got the actual facts. I'll just talk from guessing. So it's a university town right at the north, and it's really beautiful. And we went there to play a festival, which was really fun, and went wandering around in the daytime. And found this tiny little record store, which I think maybe it's the most northern record store in the world. I'm just going to keep pushing with this.
Down on it
with this fake news fact. I just was going through crates and found this old original single release of Hounds of Love, which was very exciting for me.
Oh, I mean, what? Imagine getting that on vinyl.
I know.
couple of old museums I go to. I've been to a few down the years. You end up getting some really good sort of like 1930s, 1940s stuff. Like,
what have you got? What's the oldest thing?
I've got something from the Joe Loss Orchestra way, way, way back, which is a 40s track from an old RAF museum down near Broadstairs, the little Spitfire museum down there. I stumbled across it. Some lovely stuff.
Nice.
So many people getting in touch as well, which is so nice. Morning, Dermot. After my Mystery Voice success a couple of weeks ago, we talked about record collecting. Guess where I am? Currently queuing for Record Store Day outside Crash Records in Leeds. I've been here since 4 a.m. in the cold dark. That's what I love. People just turn out in the cold dark and rain. Almost taste the celebratory bacon sandwich. That's Tom Holt in Wakefield.
Crash Records is wicked.
Do you know it? Yeah?
Yeah.
That's great. I just bought that Taylor Swift Record Store Day release from Raves and the Grace in Frome. Queued from 4:30, got very cold, but all good. Met some nice people in the queue. Matt from Wells and Somerset. Please give a shout out. I'm currently waiting in line in the Cold and Damp to buy Travis and Sam Fender limited editions today. Mike in Newcastle. The lovely thing is, Dan, how so a lot of people there they release kind of limited edition stuff today, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of the
yeah. Like limited picture disc versions of their records, or old live versions, or sometimes like one-offs. It's nice. I love Record Store Day, and as a band, it's always been, because we've done albums, but we've done mixtapes and we've done sort of EPs and special versions and things. So it's a great thing to aim towards, to put something out.
Also, like as a music fan, to have something. Well, to be honest, when I was growing up, it didn't really matter to me whether it was vinyl or cassette, because I had both, and in many ways, cassette for me was kind of more on a day-to-day basis because it was more portable, because I had a Walkman, right?
Yeah.
But when you're in a band, to actually hold,
it's the most exciting
first
thing
time
ever.
you hold like something you've created yourself must be nuts.
It's always interesting. I feel like I'm primarily a fan and didn't ever imagine being in a band growing up. So for me,
did you not?
No, not at all. No, I wanted to be a journalist. Ironically, that's not ironic at all. Sorry, there's no irony there. So for me, the idea of like actually making a CD album or making a record was like so exciting. So we sort of obsess and pore over the artwork and the booklets and all that kind of stuff, because I always think about it from like a fan perspective, like how excited I'd be to get it, to open it, to look at it and all that.
But of all the things, like if you're in a band, the idea that you can be holding something you've created.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing. And so today we're putting out this MTV Unplugged.
Tell us about this. It's very exciting.
Well, I was just thinking, sorry,
I heard a bit of it yesterday, but I heard it online.
Pivot. But yeah, so we a year or so ago did an MTV Unplugged show, which was very exciting, and particularly because in the room it's recorded, but it was a one-off gig. We did complete different rearrangements. Charlie Barnes, our guitarist, helped completely rearrange it. We had sort of a cellist and some amazing singers and a percussionist and like a whole bunch of different musicians. Obviously everything's acoustic. We worked for a week towards this one gig, and then it happens and it never happens again. Yeah. And we're never going to do the songs like that again. So it was quite exciting, and it felt a bit like sort of scary summer camp with an end performance. Yeah. But yeah, we got to sort of cut it to vinyl and go through it again and mix it and re-enjoy it. And in the room at the time, because it was being recorded, everyone had their phones confiscated. So as a gig experience, we realised, so everyone's phones were in the little bags, and we kind of realised mid-gig, it felt very special because it was really intimate and it was really quiet, and I was sitting down for the first time ever on stage, which was amazing. Life-changing.
Imagine if you just roll that out now for all your gigs. Just to let guys, I'm just going to be sat here. The rest of the band, like, the rest of us going to stand. Yeah, that's
Tell you what, having a little sit-down mid-gigs, fantastic. I don't know, it just felt strange. But halfway through the gig, I was like, what feels particularly weird? And it was just the idea that no one had their phones out. And not that I'm remotely kind of anti that, because I'm the worst person with my phone in the entire world. But
I think there's something special.
It made it really special, and the realization as well that for the generation that we're in, that we've never done a gig with people without phones until then.
So. Well, when Kate Bush came back, I never got to see her, but a few of my friends did, and they said
at Hammersmith.
Yeah, and they said those gigs without phones were just, and everyone just respected it. It was like immaculately, and it was just felt so special.
Yeah, I got to see that show. It was amazing. And it was that everything about it. I mean, the production, it was like being in a film. But yeah. All
right, we're gonna play Happier now, right? So you've got you've got control. You've literally got. If we're in a U-boat now, you've got the con.
There's a button that says
I'm
start.
Sean Connery. You're Sam Neill. You have the con. Go for it.
Do I put? Oh, there you go. Did it work?
Yes.
Yes.
So now I'm literally just hearing people cheering you. Well done.
Oh, thanks very much.
Go you.
Thanks, audience of the time.
Wherever you are now. Oh, man. Listen, it's great. What are you doing today?
So we're going from here to go meet the rest of the guys who I'm in a band with called Bastille, and we are going to go to Rough Trade East.
That's the most lovely self-effacing. We know you in a band called Bastille. Very sweet.
We're meeting at in Brick Lane and going to go sign some of this record for people who want to buy it.
And then overall Bastille-wise, I know this is not a Bastille chat, but overall Bastille-wise, what's happening next in your lives?
We are working on loads of new music, which is really fun, and we are doing a tour in the summer to celebrate 10 years of our first album, which is insane. I know. Tell me about it. It's terrifying. Which is it's really exciting. So we put together a big sort of anniversary tour, playing lots of outside shows at festivals and down the hill of Ali Pali. Should be fun.
Oh, lovely.
We're also supporting Duran Duran and Nile Rodgers around America.
Oh, just that thing.
For a bit.
That'll be a lot of fun.
I think it'll be fun. I mean, I'm pretty excited that our set's half an hour and we'll be done by 9 o'clock.
Then just kick back and watch Duran Duran.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be great.
It's my perfect summer. Listen, we got you a present, so thank you for coming in. We play vinyl every week on this show, and normally it's sort of through my collection. My collection at the moment is in boxes, so we're sort of like, essentially it's just fantasy vinyl, which is
Are you moving?
The greatest thing. We've moved, but yeah, long story. Anyway,
tell me about the admin of your moving, please.
We've been playing what until now I didn't know was the greatest album of all time. It turns out this is the greatest album of all time, the Easy 70s pop album.
Oh, wow.
Everything you could possibly need. Last week we played David Soul, Don't Give Up on Me Baby. I haven't stopped singing it all week.
That's amazing.
We've bought a copy for you.
Is that for me? Oh, thanks so much. That's
honestly
amazing.
It's killer.
Thank
the
you.
whole thing is just...
Wow, look at
I feel
that.
quite emotional talking about it. I've just found this out.
What's your absolute favourite?
Well, David Soul is there's a really nice what is it, Kiki D song on there? Is that right? Yeah. Chanson d'amour, Manhattan Transfer.
Very excited to dig into this. Thank you very much.
Man.
That's really kind.
Listen, you very kindly have brought some vinyl for us, not for us to keep. For us to keep. So nice of you, Dan.
I am taking it home.
But we are playing Simon & Garfunkel now.
Yes.
So this is me. This is on my remit, on my show. I've got to play my own stuff.
Got to put on you.
What
sorry.
is this?
And then trust me with the play button. But yeah, this is from my dad's old copy of the Graduate soundtrack.
Wonderful, Dan. Thanks a million.
Thanks for having me. Thanks so much. Oh,
I know. So.
Oh.